Hello and welcome to Cheshire Audio. Now this is another favourite albums section. I'm trying to keep this, or have been trying to keep this, to albums that I feel as though people generally will like, that it's, you know, a little bit more of a, like I say, a general interest sort of albums. My musical taste is quite eclectic, so I did wonder whether to throw in the odd slightly bizarre like that I've got. And there's bands like Ndweller's Dream, Aphrodite's Child, what was the other one I was thinking? Oh, Captain Beefheart, which is out there. So whether to go that way, I don't know, but I'm just going to stay a little bit more with the albums I know that whenever I've played them to people, they've gone, you know, wow, or, you know, been really into. So on that basis, what I'm going to talk about today is Shaun Mullins' Soul's Core. Which again, fabulous album. This I'm going to do. That's not fabulous album. I bought this when it came out. Nice price. But yeah, I think this was one of his first, probably his first album, and he had a little bit of a run of sort of fame in the UK because of the Radio 2 show with Terry Wogan, who was really good at sort of spotting talent and playing the music on the show, and it had quite a hit for a short time, I think, now with a track called Lullaby, which when you listen to this album isn't really the strongest track on the album, and doesn't totally give you a feel of what Shaun Mullins is about, really. It's style-wise, it's difficult to pinpoint. I mean, I played it to a friend once who, and this is probably the only negative, is it a negative? Only sort of negative comment I've had about it was, he said, that's really good, but it's a bit country. I suppose you can take that whichever way you want, really. Shaun Mullins is, I think the main thing about him is he's a brilliant writer. He's almost at sort of Joni Mitchell levels of writing. There's a lot of the songs tell stories. There's an awful lot of songs which are very much about people trapped in relationships and trying to leave, dreaming of leaving, or actually leaving, or there's also that sort of thing going on. It's very descriptive, very imaginative. The sort of music you listen to and it forms a picture in your mind because it's so well described that it does form a picture. You could argue he sounds a little bit like Kenny Rogers sometimes. It goes in that direction. But then again, there's a couple of tracks, particularly on Soul's Core, that sound a lot like Lou Reed, actually. So it's not, don't worry about the country thing. It's sort of, you could say it's kind of country rock. You could almost say it's country folk in some situations. You can't really pin anything on it because there's quite a range of sounds on this particular album. It goes from very, very almost spoken ballad right through to full rock anthem stuff. So it's not just it's not like I say with Kenny Rogers. It tends to be very, very similar. I'm not knocking Kenny Rogers. I love Kenny Rogers, actually. I think he's a really good writer, a really great artist. And there's a couple of tracks on here which I almost would go on here to check to see if they weren't written by him, because it has got that kind of feel. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up and read some of the lyrics, because lyrically he is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I've come equipped for this because I'll need to read them. The first time I saw him live, I think was when he'd literally only, I think the Soul's Core was actually quite a new album, and he was on in Manchester. He did a bit of a UK tour, and he played Manchester, and if anybody lives in the Northwest, they'll know where I'm talking about. Academy 3, very small venue, just little square room, bar at one end, artist at the other. I've seen loads of people there, loads and loads of people there. It's a very sort of intimate sort of place. It's attached to Manchester University, so you tend to get a lot of students in there. So it's generally full. And I've seen, you know, George Brodsky and various people. George Brodsky's, let's do a tangent. George Brodsky, if you've heard the Sultans of Swing and they talk about Guitar George, he knows all the chords. He doesn't like to make it cry or sing. George Brodsky is Guitar George. He denies it, but it's him, really, it is him. Yeah, George plays there quite a lot. Various people, yeah, there's some good people there. Quite often you can go and there'll be 4 or 5 bands on and you pay £10 and, you know, there's a load of different bands playing. And Shaun played Academy 3, and remember turning up there, and it was full of students, and they'd obviously been at the bar a little longer than they should have done, and they weren't there particularly to see Shaun. He was a bit of an unknown. And I got this sort of feeling in there that this isn't going to go well, really. Anyway, Shaun walks on, very quiet, very unassuming sort of guy, just doesn't look confident at all at first. And there's a few heckles. In fact, I'd say probably a quarter of the people in there were either jeering, heckling, or shouting hippie and get your hair cut and the usual drunken student sorts of comments, really. And anyway, just didn't particularly take it on, picked his guitar up, and he goes straight in to a track called Twin Peaks, Oregon, which is my favourite track of all, probably of Shaun Mullins, certainly, but possibly of all time. And we'll talk about this in a sec. He picks his guitar up and starts to play Twin Peaks. And I reckon within 30 seconds, possibly less, the whole room was full of students holding a pint of beer going, and it went quiet, totally quiet. And I've never experienced that. He was absolutely brilliant. And if you listen to Twin Peaks, Oregon, it's an astonishing track, mostly spoken, possibly one of the most imaginative and best described situations. It's because basically it's him on the road and in his van struggling to make a living as a musician. Pulls in at a cliff top to look at the view, and there's an old chap there apparently old chap there who's sat looking at the view, who does a similar thing. He says he paints to earn a living, and travels around on the trains and doesn't really have a home to go to, and it's the conversation between these two, and it's wonderful. It's one of the most. It's a definite hair on the back of the neck thing. It makes you almost shiver, the realism of it. And at this point, I'm going to get my glasses and just read some lyrics. I'm going to get all highbrow and read some lyrics, because he's very much in his lyric writing, like Joni Mitchell. I think that he creates a world with his writing. It's not just repeated words and phrases that sound good with the music. It's it's musically really good. His guitar playing's really good. With full band, he's really good. But like I say, lyrically, wow. Twin Rocks, Oregon, which is, did I say Oregon? I can never remember the name of this track. Even though it's my favourite track of all time, I can never remember the name of it. Quick cut there because the phone rang. I was reading lyrics, wasn't I? Yeah, Twin Rocks, Oregon, which I keep getting the name wrong. Even though it's my favourite track of all time, I keep calling it Twin Peaks. But yeah, Twin Rocks, Oregon, like I say, favourite track. Some great lyrics in this. I mean, this is, like I say, it's this conversation between Shaun and this chap on the up on the headland, and Shaun said to him, "I don't reckon I'll be making it big. It's hard to get rich off a tout of coffee house gigs." And the guy says, and he says, "Yeah, but ain't it a blessing to do what you want to do?" And I think that's probably one of the best lines of all time. That one, isn't it a blessing to do what you want to do? Yeah, and the description of the guy's superb. He held a bottle of Mad Dog in his hand and waved it around a lot to make his point. I listened as he told his tales of wine and women and country jails. It's just superb imagery in this. And then we've got Tanning Bed Song, which is about a woman whose husband worked on the oil rigs and lost his job, and then spends his time in the local bar cursing Umako, and she's wanting to get out because he's a changed man. And there's a line on here where she bundles all the kids into the car and tells them there's a twister coming, so to make them panic and get into the car. And she says, "I'm taking the microwave oven and I'm taking the colour TV and I'm packing up the Chevy with the kids and what's left of me." I can can almost feel myself tearing up. It's just they're just incredible songs. I mean, he's such a likable guy. When you actually see him live, he's possibly the coolest person I've ever met. Actually, he's just got something in his voice, and it comes across in the music that he's just got this really laid back. And I think on this, like I say, this album's great. There's also an album called Eggshells, which is great. and there's a track on that where he talks about an old chap who he used to go and practice guitar with, and he taught him how to pick guitar, and there's a description of that old chap and his feeling at discovering different, of being able to show him different sort of things on his guitar, and how the guy was so supportive of him. And there's some great songwriting, absolutely superb. So this is me trying to put everything back together. Yeah, it's back together. So I think it wasn't available on vinyl initially. I think it is now. I haven't actually, for some reason, I've never bought a copy. I don't know why. I don't know why I've not done that. But yeah, I think about 2 or 3 of these are available on vinyl now. I think that needs to be done. I need to sort that one out. I've inspired myself. So yeah, recommended. Shaun Mullins, Soul's Core, particularly the track. And I'm going to read it because even now I can't remember what it's called. Twin Rocks, Oregon, not Twin Peaks. Yeah, if you're going to do anything, just listen to that one track, and it'll possibly sometimes the first time through things like that you don't necessarily get it, but the 2, 3, and you start to pick up on the imagery and the descriptive quality of it. Fantastic. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling now because I'm getting overexcited. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a subscribe and a like. Thank you again for all the comments I keep getting in email, and other suggestions for music. I will be looking more closely at those actually. I need to have a listen to a few of the unknown ones, so I can perhaps include some of those as well. But anyway, yeah, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.